Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathan Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamsha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्वसे नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूप स्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। So I once again welcome all of you on this Sunday morning session on Bhagavad Gita, in which we are regularly discussing chapter-wise Bhagavad Gita, the flow of Bhagavad Gita, and overview of one chapter in one session. Unfortunately, mercy of Guru Maharaj and Guru Parampara, we have reached to chapter 8. Chapter 8 is very important chapter. Like we have always understood that Bhagavad Gita can be classified in various ways, and one way to understand Bhagavad Gita is to understand that there are three sections in Bhagavad Gita. The initial 6 chapters, they are more focus on Karma Yoga, and the middle 6 chapter, they focus more on Bhakti Yoga, and last 6 chapters are more on Jnana Yoga. It is not that Bhakti is not there in first section or in the last section. Bhakti is all pervasive in Bhagavad Gita, like we always understood. So chapter 8 is very specific chapter in which there is a one central theme around which Lord Krishna will try to explain everything to us. And how we can understand in our modern parlance is, we can call it as password to Krishna or Krishna's abode, or technically it is known as the Bhagavad Prapti. So what is this Bhagavad Prapti and how to achieve this Bhagavad Prapti is what Lord is going to tell us in this chapter specifically. And we all will try to understand through Srila Prabhupada and Guru Parampara, then how we can understand this Bhagavad Gita, specifically chapter 8. So Srila Prabhupada says that there is no comparison or competition. Every word is for good of human society, each and every word. So each and every word of Bhagavad Gita is for human society. And Prabhupada has very mercifully given us Bhagavad Gita as it is, or Bhagavad Gita Yatharup, in which we can understand the gist of what Lord Krishna wants to tell us. This chapter 8 is so important that Lord Krishna is spoken once in Bhagavad Gita, but Srila Prabhupada has taken so many lecture and lecture series on chapter 8. So chapter 8 is very important for all of us. So let's try to delve into chapter 8. Lord Krishna specifically wants to tell us in chapter 8 the central theme that how one can reach him. And if we think about it, actually, this is the whole purpose of our human existence. The purpose of human existence is to somehow reach to Lord's abode, away from this area in which we are living, which is full of all the miseries. But then how we can reach? We cannot reach to Lord in this body. We have to change our body. In the same way, like a person who is imprisoned because of some reason, the moment he comes into prison house, he is given a new set of clothes which represent his identity as a prisoner. Same way, the moment we decided that we want to enjoy away from Lord Krishna, we were given this body. So whenever we look at our body, we should think that this is actually our rebellious nature against Lord, which is being seen. So all the photographs in which we are seen, anytime we see ourselves in mirror, actually what we are looking is our rebellious nature, the way we rebelled against Lord. Now, when we leave this body, technically we call it as death. So what is death? Death is one word which nobody wants to talk about. Death is something which we always want to hush behind the carpets. But death is something in civilized world, everybody tries to keep it under the wraps. Nobody wants to discuss about death. But what is death? This is what is change of our form, change of our body, change of our entity. This is what is death. We have already understood through second chapter that we are actually living souls and we are not the body, what we misidentify ourselves right now with. So we are souls. Because we are souls, we are living in this body. When we leave this body, we get a new body according to our karmic situations. This we understood in third, fourth, and fifth chapter. Now what Lord wants to tell us? Lord wants to tell us that that transition phase when you are leaving this body and you are about to get that new body, you can do something through which you can avoid getting a new body. And this is what is known as Bhagavat Prapti. And this is the theme of this whole section. Now, if we discuss or talk about death, so most of the people, they don't want to talk about death at first place. Even if they want to talk about the death, mostly they will try to avoid discussing too much about it. So there was a big survey done in United Kingdom, and 6 in the 10 people, they answered that they know little or nothing about the final hours of life. And this is true with all of us. People who have been trained in the modern medicine, people who have been practicing medicine and seeing death in and out every day, they also don't know anything about death and after death. So this is very surprising phenomena that science talks about everything. Science wants to talk about everything. In modernization, we say that there is no taboo subject and we want to discuss about everything openly, but death is still a taboo. We don't want to discuss about death because death means separation from our loved ones. Death means that pain which frightens us, that final hours or minutes of life, which we don't want to discuss. But somewhere in back of mind, that thought lingers in everybody's mind that what happens after death, what and how I will die. And this is a very challenging topic actually. And this is a topic in which we should openly discuss. And our Shastras, specifically if we talk about Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, they talk extensively about death. Like if you see Bhagavatam, the theme of Bhagavatam is one person who is going to die in 7 days. And he is just patiently listening about Lord. He is not getting panicky the way we are. They are openly discussing about how death occurs. If you read Garud Puran, there is a detailed description about death. So we don't shy away from death. If you are a spiritualist, death is one of the ultimate reality which we all have to face. Death is the final exam which we all have to give. Death is not an area in which we don't want to discuss. So death is not which will bring us some depressive thoughts. Death is actually transition from our material entity to a spiritual entity. The transformation is death. So Lord has already said that Jatasya hi dhruva mrityu. Person who has taken birth will definitely die someday. And person who has taken or achieved death will already or will achieve one birth in his next life. So every person who has taken birth in this material world is destined to meet death, which is simply a matter of changing body. But no one except the Krishna conscious person know where he will be going after this change of the body. So if you ask any scientist, any person that, sir, can you tell me what will happen after death? Most of the time you will get a blank, a big question mark. They don't know about it. And because they don't know about it, but they want to pose themselves as learned philosophers or learned scientists, they will always say, we are still experimenting on it. And someday, in near future, we will tell you what is death. But actually, we don't know death. Even there is a lot of controversy about how to define death. Leave aside, try to understand death. Very big author, Isaac Asimov, he said that life is pleasant. Life is pleasant, we all know, for most of us. Death is peaceful. This also, we have seen people who have died, they are very peaceful. But the transition from life to death, that is troublesome. But actually, what is troublesome? If you ask any spiritualist, he will tell you that trouble is that you think that you have time. We all think that we have time before we die. We have a lot of time. We have ample of things to do. We have a big to-do list. We will achieve all those things. We will tick everything. We have achieved everything in life. And then someday we will happily say that, okay, now I am ready to accept death. But sirs and madam, this is not the way life is. We all know that someday and one day we all will die. So Lord has already said this theme in 7th chapter only, when he said that Jara Marana Mokshaya Mamishratya Yatantiye. So he has already said that Jara Marana Mokshaya, these three things, Jara, Maran and Mokshaya. Jara means old age, Maran means death, and Moksha means liberation. So person who mostly, if he is elderly, he will someday die, Jara Maran. He should think about moksha or liberation also. But how to achieve that? Prayana kale pi chamate vidyut yukta chetasa. So prayana kale, the time when we are leaving our body, that is a time when we should think about Lord. Now, if you just pause and think, if you are a medico, you have seen so many deaths. We all have seen so many deaths. We have seen deaths of our real relatives. How many of them at Prayana Kale at the time of death could remember Lord? How many of them had Lord's name on their lips when they are leaving their body? And if it is not so, then Lord actually gives us tips how we can develop that consciousness. And that's why this chapter is very important for all of us. So this chapter starts with questions from Arjuna. This is chapter 8. And incidentally, Arjuna asks 8 questions to Lord Shri Krishna. So Arjuna inquires, "O my Lord, O Supreme Person, what is Brahman? What is self? What are fruitive activities? What is this material manifestations? What are demigods? Please explain this to me." How he addresses Lord Shri Krishna? He says him as Purushottama, to indicate that Krishna is the supreme person and not simply a friend, because that friendship actually way of dealing has already over in 2.7 shloka of Bhagavad Gita. Now Lord Krishna is supreme person. He is Purushottama. And because he is supreme authority, he can give the answers. So what we can learn from this shloka? If you want to ask questions, ask from the authority. Ask from the person who knows it, not from anyone who poses himself to be a knower. And then his question continues. He says that who is the Lord of sacrifice? How does he live in this body, O Madhusudana? And how can those engaged in the devotion service know you at the time of death? So technically there are 8 questions which Arjuna is asking. And what Lord is saying, Lord will answer the initial 7 questions rapidly. And the last question, that how can those engage in devotion service know you at the time of death? He will devote whole chapter to this one question. So this question is very important question. And here how Arjuna is addressing Lord Shri Krishna, he addresses him as Madhusudana. Like he has killed a demon named Madhu, the same way he can kill the demon of doubts, which we all have, which Arjuna is representing us. So what he is saying, at the time of death, how we should live. So great King Kulshekhara, he was a great devotee of Lord, and he says that Krishna Tvadiya Pada Pankaja Pancharantam Adeva Me Vishtu Manasa Rajhansa Prana Prayana Samaye Kafavat Pitto Kantavarodhan Vidho Smaranam Kutaste. Srila Prabhupada's favorite, one of the most favorite shloka, which he quotes many times in his lectures. This is from the Mukund Mala Strot, composed by King Kulshekhara. And what he says that Krishna Tvadiya Pada Pankaja Pancharantam. O Lord Krishna, O my Lord Krishna, my mind is focused on your lotus feet right now. I don't know when I will be going to attain death. And when I will be dying, maybe I will be in my ripened old age. And because of that, prana prayana samaye kafavata pitta, kaf and vat and pitta will concentrate in my throat, and I will not be able to speak or utter your name. And how I will be able to remember you, because my mind will be reeling that time. So why not please do that right now, because my mind is in you. Take me immediately to your abode. So immediately, like a swan, when he sinks down his neck into the stems of the lotus leaves, sometime what happens? That swan gets strangulated and he dies immediately. So King Kulshekhara prays to Lord Shri Krishna that right now I am young, I am able to concentrate on you. Why not you make situation that I come to you immediately? So this is the concept of Prayana Kale. So now Lord starts answering from the 3rd shloka onwards. What Lord says, the Supreme Personality of Lord says that the indestructible, the transcendental living entity is Brahman, and his eternal nature is called Adhyatma or self. The action pertaining to the development of material body of the living entity is called karma or fruitive activities. So these 3 things we already discussed before also, that the transcendental living entity inside us is Brahman and his eternal nature is Adhyatma, like we are discussing Adhyatma topic. So there is Brahma, and there is Brahman. These 3 words are there, we should not get confused. Most of us, we know the meaning of these 3, but just for sake of proper understanding, Brahman is one of the Varga in Chatushvarni system. And Brahma is Brahmaji, the creator, the secondary creator of this whole universe. And Brahma is our Atma, our entity, what is inside us. So these 3 words, they sound same, but they are different. Now what Lord says that, O best of the embodied being, the physical nature which is constantly changing is Adi Bhuta. This we will be discussing more in chapter 17 of Bhagavad Gita in our sessions. The universal form of Lord, which includes all the demigod like those of sun, moon, is called Adi Deva. And I, the Supreme Personality, represented as super soul in the heart of every embodied being, I am called Adi Yagya. So Adi Yagya, Adi Bhut are the 2 different things. Adi Bhut is the material manifestation, the Prakriti manifestation, and Adi Yagya is Lord himself as a super soul. So 7 questions are there initially, and 8th question now Lord will start answering. So what were these 7 questions? Just to recapitulate. First was, what is Brahma, the indestructible living entity? What is Adhyatma, the eternal nature of the self? What is Karma, the activity which generates a material body for living entity? What is Adi Bhuta, The material manifestation, the physical bhautik prakriti, which is constantly changing. Adi Dev, the supreme demigod. Adi Yajna is the enjoyer of the sacrifice. And where this Adi Yajna resides? As a super soul, Adi Yajna resides in the heart of everyone. Now what we are going to focus is on the 8th question. So what Adi Bhut is, this is how the physical nature constantly changes itself. And we have also been part of this change only. So slowly our bodies are changing. Slowly we are getting older enough, and then one day we die, then we take one more birth. If our karmas are like that, we get a human life next time, we get a human life. If our karmas are like that, we get animal life, we get animal life next time. And this how this cycle keeps on repeating. And what is Adi Dev? Adi Dev is this universal form of the Lord. This universal form is actually a form on which the impersonalists, they focus their meditation upon. And they contemplate him as that the lower planets like Atal Lok, Vital Lok, Sutal, Talatal, Mahatal, Rasatal, Patal, they are the legs of the Lord. And the upper planets, they are the head like Satyalok, Taplok, Janlok, Maharlok, Swarlok, Bhuvarlok. So say this way, they have imagined that Lord actually can be represented by a Adi Dev or universal form. And Adi Yajna is, we have already understood that Yajna ve Vishnu. So Lord of sacrifice is Vishnu. And Indra is chief administrative demigods. So both are worshipped in Yajna, but Vishnu is the chief or primeval deity who is worshipped in Yajna. So what is Adi Yajna? The function of the super soul. What function super soul has to do? Super soul is like a witness to all our activities. In our heart, there is one soul, the individual soul, living entity, and one is super soul, the Lord himself, who is witness of all the soul's activity. And he is the source of all the various type of consciousness which is there in soul. And it gives that minute free independence to all of us. So this is Adi Yajna. So this is the how Vedic sacrifice system runs. There are 5 types of offerings. You can read detail about it in Srila Prabhupada's purport to this section, in which Srila Prabhupada says that there are 5 kinds of offerings or Panchagni Vidyas and 5 kinds of sacrifices. So these type of Panchagni Vidya systems are there, and there are different type of fire sacrifices also there. So these are all part of Karmakand system. If you want to understand more detail this section, then we will have to understand that what is Brahma, what is Atma, and what is this Jeev or Sharir. And what is Brahma? There are different schools of Hinduism in which this thing has been explained. One way of understanding it is that there is no difference between the Lord or Brahma and Jivatma, and what we call as Mayavadi concept of understanding or Vedanta concept of understanding. Then there is Vaishnava concept of understanding, in which we say that there is Brahma, who is always eternally existing, and there is Atma or ourselves, who are also eternally existing, and we are eternally part and parcel of Lord Shri Krishna. So this is another way of understanding this part. So there are 2 different realities of existence if we try to understand. One is soul and one is super soul. If we think that soul and super soul are one, or they will become one someday, we are following Mayavadi concept or Brahmavadi concept. If we are saying that these 2 will eternally coexist and they never merge, then we are Vaishnavas. So what is important for us? Important for us is that how to remember Lord Krishna at the time of death. And this is what is the focus of remaining chapter. So what is the focus of remaining chapter? That how and why we should remember Lord? Because one attains whatever one remembers at the time of death. So if we remember something else at the time of death, we will attain that. Then Lord will say that how to remember him and how to achieve that pure devotional service. And this is very important section for all of us. So Lord starts in 5th shloka that Antakalesha mameva smaranam muktva kalevaram ya prayati samadbhavam yati nasti yatra sanshaya. And whoever at the end of his life quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt. So this is the central theme of this whole chapter. What Lord is saying, Antakalecha Mameva Smarana Muktva Kalevaram. Kalevaram means this body. When we are leaving this body, Antakal, that Antakal, if we remember Lord, then we will attain his nature. There is no doubt about it. So Lord is actually proclaiming it that there is no doubt. And now he will explain that why it is so. So we all know the story of Ajamil, how at the end of his life he remembers Narayan and he gets the abode of Narayan. So same way, he further explains it in 6th shloka. Lord says that yam yam vapi smarana bhavam tajante kalevaram tam tam veti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavita. So whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail. Now what Lord is saying, initially Lord said that at the end of your life, you remember me, you will attain my nature. Now what he is saying, if you remember something else, then you will attain that without fail. So this is very important. One aspect is that we have to remember Lord. That is the do part of it. And one aspect is the don't part of it, that you don't have to remember anything else. If you remember something else, you will attain that. And if you read Bhagavatam, you will get a very nice story of Jada Bharat Maharaj. Jada Bharat, who was a king of whole world, and he actually left everything behind and became a ascetic, became a vanprasthi in one of the deep forest. And there he had some liking towards one small dove, a small animal. And then because of that liking and that attachment, that next life he had to have a animal life. So yam yam smarati, whatever you remember at the end of your life, you will attain that. So that is very important aspect. So when we leave our body, there are many things which are going to happen. There will be karmic account, and that karmic account will decide what we will get. If our karmic account is towards negative karmas, then we may have to go to different lower planetary systems also, where we will suffer. And once that suffering is over, we will come back and have next life on this earth. But this cycle continues. If we want to come out of this cycle, we will have to do something, because actually this is very painful. We all should contemplate on it, that actually if we do wrong, then it is very painful. Not only in this life, it is very painful for next life also. So same time is there, same time functions for devotee also, and same time functions for non-devotee also. But what is the difference? This is the difference. For his own pups, this animal, his teeth they are the protection. Whenever this small baby is in danger, he will pick it up and bring it to a safe zone. But same teeth, they are dangerous for some prey. So what is happening? Teeth are same, but functions are different. Kal is same, but functions are different. Death is same, but functions are different. For devotees, death means liberation, liberation from this plane of material existence. And for others, death means suffering, suffering in the lower species, suffering in the lower planetary systems, suffering and rotating in the Kal Chakra or 84 lakh species. So this is very important. That's why what Lord says, Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Mam Anusmar Yuddhacha Maya Arpit Mano Buddhi Mame Veshasya Sanshaya. So what Lord is saying, Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu, Sarveshu Kaleshu. Why Sarveshu Kaleshu? All the time, why? Because we don't know when death will occur. So that's why tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmar. Somebody may say, or Arjuna may say to Lord, okay, Lord, I have understood that I have to remember you at the time of death. So I am leaving this battlefield and I am going away from all my responsibilities. I'll sit at one peaceful corner in deep forest and I will remember you and I will quit my body. Lord says, no, Arjuna, no, I don't want you to do like that. What I want from you is tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmar yuddha cha. You remember me and fight. Mam anusmar yuddha cha. May arpit mano buddhi. But give your man and buddhi to me without any doubt. Then what will happen? Then you will come to me. So Lord is not saying that you sit at one corner and leave all your duties. What Lord is saying that you do all your duties, but still tasmat sarveshu kaleshu. All the time remember me. So many times, because we have a lot of attachments in this world, we think that at the time of death, I will have to leave this home, which I have decorated, which I have purchased, which I have built. But if we really understand, actually at the time of death, we are not leaving this home. Actually, we are going to home because we don't belong to this place. The moment we understand that we don't belong to this place, this is not my home, then what is the attachment? There is no attachment. Then I'm not leaving this home. This is just like a hotel dharmshala for me. I'm just living here, and someday at the time of death, I will go to my home. I am eagerly waiting for that day. So tasmat sarveshu kaleshu ma manusmar yuddha cha. Remember me and fight. There is no other way. Mam anusmar yuddha cha. This should be our working phrase. This should be the way we should live our life. Mam anusmar yuddha cha. Now, what is the best way to do smaranam of Lord? Mam anusmar yuddha cha. To worship Lord through Nam Japa, Hare Krishna mantra. So if we practice that, slowly we will develop that habit that Ma Manusmar Yuddhascha means Yuddha means we don't have to fight with someone. Yuddha means our duties. So whatever duty we are doing, we'll be keeping on doing that duty, but still we are simultaneously remembering Lord. Ma Manusmar Yuddhacha. And how you have to do it? Abhyasa yoga yuktena chetasa nanya gamina paramam purusham divyam yati parthanu chintayan. How to remember that Lord? Paramam purusham divyam. He is the param purush divya. And then you have to do that abhyas yoga. You keep on doing that, keep on doing that. Ma manusmar yuddhacha. And slowly your memory of Lord will be revived. How that will be revived? Like we understood through chanting of Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And slowly what will happen? We'll be able to remember not only Lord's name, we will be able to remember his features, his different features like his form as Krishna, his form as Rama, his form as Narsingha, his form as Narayana. This practice will purify us at the end of the life. Due to this constant chanting, he will be transferred to the kingdom of God. Srila Prabhupada promises this in purport of 8.8 Bhagavad Gita. So what he is saying, that at the end of life, due to your constant chanting, Ma Manusmar Yuddhacha, you will be transferred to the kingdom of God. So this critical moment at the time of death, when this change is happening, either we will go to the lower modes and lower species or lower planetary system, or we will promote it to higher planets, or we will go to Lord's abode. Now, how to ensure that our trajectory is towards the Lord's abode? That is only possible by chanting and constantly practicing Abhyasa Yoga. Because we see in Bharat Maharaj's story that because he was attached to that baby deer, he became deer in his next life. What we have to do? We have to get attached to that baby Krishna and not to that baby deer. So what we think at time of our death is more important than what others thinks us about after our death. Many times people keep on doing all the things. They make big palaces, they make big mansions, they make big statues, they make open so many philanthropic projects, and they gave it name memorial this. What? So that at that or after death, people will remember me. They will remember me. But dear sir, that is not important at how people will remember you after death. The more and most important thing is that how and what you will remember at the time of death, because then you will be born in some lower species around your that big palace only. Maybe you are one rat or cockroach in that palace. So what is the use? So who is the intelligent person? Abhyasa yoga yuktena, who will do that abhyas yoga, that at the end of the at the time of death I will have somehow remember Lord Shri Krishna, and I have to do that. So there are different ways of doing that. At the mental level, you can think in the form of Krishna by chanting Hare Krishna. At physical level, you will have to do some seva. If you say that just I will sit at one place and I will try to remember him and everything will be happening automatically, no, it will not happen like that. Physically also you will have to do seva. Intellectually, you will have to apply your mind how to spread this Krishna consciousness, how I can contribute to spread of Krishna consciousness. And when I apply all my faculties, my mental faculties, my physical faculties, my intellectual faculties, then I get that result that I get freedom from all the material contamination. So what is this revival of memory of Krishna? When we do chanting of Hare Krishna, what is happening? Actually, cleansing is happening. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he says that Cheto Darpana Marjanam, Bhav Mahadavagni Nirvaparanam, Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam, Vidyavadhu Jivanam, Anandam Bodhivardhanam Pratipadam, Purna Amrita Swadanam. So what is happening? That memory of Lord Shri Krishna and our association with his form and pastimes is there inside us. But what has happened? Because of all these many lives, they are covered. When we are chanting, we are cleaning our heart. And the more and more cleaning happens, more and more that revival of memory happens. Same way like a caterpillar can turn into a very beautiful butterfly. Same way, if we can just focus, even in this mortal body, we can think about Lord Krishna and his eternal devotees and his pastimes. Slowly our consciousness will be transformed. Same way like a ugly looking caterpillar is transformed into a very beautiful butterfly. Now, how to concentrate on Lord? Lord himself gives that formula. Kavi Puranam Manusha Shitaram Mano Arinyam Samunot Medha Sarvasya Dhataram Achintya Rupam Maditya Varnam Tamasa Parastat. Kavi Puranam Anusha Shitaram. Lord is Kavi. Kavi. What is this Kavi? Kavi is very difficult word to explain in English. Kavi is not a poet. Kavi is something who is eternally existing. Kavi is something who is very knowledgeable. God is that Puranam, that the oldest person. So if you, Lord is the eternal existing being, and if you focus in this on this aspect of Lord, that is Kavi Purana Manushashitaram, and if you focus your heart and mind on this aspect of Lord, and if you bring your problem to him and you say that, Lord, I have a problem, I am not able to concentrate on you. Lord, I have so many problems in my professional or personal front. What should I do? So what we should remember, Sarvasya Dhataram Achintya Rupam. So for Lord, nothing is difficult. He is Achintya Rupam. For Lord, no problem is very big or very small. So if you remember that he is smaller than the smallest, who is the maintainer of everything, who is beyond this material conception, who is Achintya or inconceivable, who is always a person, who is luminous like sun, and he is transcendental beyond this material nature. If we remember Lord in this manner, then is it difficult for us to focus on Lord? No, it is not difficult. Many times people say that I am not able to focus on Lord. Now, one way to understand it is that actually we are not reading much about Lord. If you read more and more about Lord, what will happen? Automatically you'll be focused. The more we hear about someone and his qualities, more our mind is attracted to him. So like now this Damodar month is there. So we are focusing on one aspect of very nice Leela which Lord Krishna actually played in uh, Golok Vrindavan also and here also. And what is that Leela? That Leela is that Yashoda Ma is trying to bind Lord Shri Krishna, who is a very small boy. Now, if it is very inconceivable or achintya that how Lord, who is most powerful, can be bound by simple silken ropes, but it happens like that. So this is the achintya quality of Lord. We can never understand it. But if we have faith in Guru Shish Parampara, then that actual knowledge will rise in our heart. We'll understand that God's energy is beyond our thinking jurisdiction. But somehow or other, we should give away this our actually always we try to speculate on some philosophical manner or some logical manner we try to understand. If we give away these two propensities, then we'll be able to understand Lord. So what we have to do, if one is a yoga mishra bhakta, then how he will focus on Lord? Prayana kale manasa chalena bhaktya yukto yoga balena cheva. Gurvo madhye pranam veshya samyaka satam param purusham me peti divyam. So he will focus on Lord that at the time of death, he will focus all his energies between the eyebrows and he will control his restless mind and he will try to find that rest in Krishna. So this is how the yogis, they try to concentrate on Lord and while they are leaving this body. And many of the yogis, they have that ability that they can decide their time of death also. Yad aksharam ved vido vadanti vishanti yadyayo vitaraga yadicyanto brahmacharyam charanti tatte padam sangrahena pravashye. So this way they focus on that. We are focusing on that entity about which Vedas are speaking. The persons who are learned in Vedas, they will utter that Omkar, and who are the great sages in the renounced order enter into the Brahman. Because they just want to enter into the Brahman. Brahman, what is this Brahman? You can see this picture very nicely. It depicts that Brahman is just light, one aspect of Lord. What is Paramatma? Paramatma is the localized form which resides in our heart. Adi Dev. And what is Bhagavan? Bhagavan is how we can reciprocate personally with Lord. So what Yoga Mishra Bhaktas are doing? They are learned in Vedas, so they will utter Omkar and they will try to merge in Brahman. But what devotees will do? We will try to understand that also. But how they achieve this sort of Brahman realization is Sarva Dvarani Sanyamya Manoradi Niruddhya Cha Murdhanyatma